Welcome to Team 2168's tutorial series. In today's video, we're going to talk about how to make a connector to talk to your Jaguars over CAN. And we have a previous video that describes all the details on how to make your cables and how to flash your Jags. But we didn't have the right connector available at the time. So instead of telling you guys that, okay, this is how you could do it, this is how you should do it, I'd rather just show you the right way. So we got the appropriate part in from Monoprice. And basically all this component is, it's got an RJ12 jack, so it's a 6-pin phone jack on the back, and all of the pins on that connector have ends on them, and you can plug them into a female DB9 connection. There's sockets on the back, so you just have to know what pin out you want and plug in these connections and you're done. So if you watched the previous video, you can see how this is a lot easier, and in my opinion it's actually more reliable. So this is the route you want to go. Alright, so wiring this connector is pretty straightforward. It's going to be the same pin out that we did for the previous video. You can also consult our website. We have a tutorial. It's under the resources section under electrical. It's called CAN Jaguars. But basically you need to hook up 3 wires from the DB9 connector into the phone cable that's going to go to the Jaguar. And those 3 connections are the signal, ground, receive, and transmit. So those are your serial communication wires. On the DB9 connector, your signal ground is on pin 5. If you look, there's little numbers generally on one side or both of the connector. So signal ground is on pin 5. Pin 3 has the transmit, and pin 2 has receive. Now, on the phone jack side, you want to have your connections coming from the DB9 connector for the serial communications going to the right connector on the black Jaguars. Now that connector is set up specifically to add RS-232 communications in addition to the standard wiring for communicating over the CAN bus. Now the wiring for that connector is available on our website or in the manuals from Texas Instruments. But basically the inner 4 pins on the phone jack are used for CAN. The outer 2 are what's going to be used to communicate just on that first Jag over RS-232. So if you hold the connector with the tab side down, the left-hand pin has the Jaguar's receive data, and the right-hand pin has the Jaguar's transmit data line. So that's pin 1 is receive on the Jaguar, pin 6 is transmit on the Jaguar, and then pin 5, so 1 in from the right-hand side, has the ground connection. So basically our pin out, we're going to have pin 5 on the DB9 connecting to pin 5 on the phone jack. That's for our ground signal. We'll have pin 3 on the DB9. That's our transmit from RS-232 from the computer, going to the receive side on the phone jack to the Jaguar. So that's pin 3 on the DB9 connector to pin 1 on the phone jack. And the last connection is for receive data. So that's data being received on the DB9 coming from the Jaguar. So you're going to connect pin 2 on the DB9 to pin 1 on the phone jack. Now, there is standard colorings for the cables, but I wouldn't trust. I wouldn't wire up your connector just based on the color code. So get out a multimeter if you need. You can probably just look in the end of the connector and see which cable is which. And again, holding the tab side down on the jack, the left hand side is pin 1. So on my connector, pin 1 is black, so that's going to be the receive on the Jaguar side, and pin 6 is yellow. That's going to be my transmit line, and then my blue wire is ground. So the remaining wires you can tie back. You'll definitely want to make sure that these conductive ends don't touch each other, because there is active communications taking place on these lines. So either cut them or wrap them up with tape if you think you want to use them later, if you're not sure that your wiring's correct. Alright, so again, I'm taking pin 6, my transmit on the Jag, which will go to receive on the computer side. So pin 6 on the phone jack going to pin 2, and I'm just following the pinout on our website. So look at the wiring in the back here. You just slide the connector in, and you just want to make sure it seats all the way. If you can pull it out, it's not in. To help inserting these cables into the plug, I suggest getting a small precision screwdriver and pressing on the contact just to seat it all the way. You don't want to be pushing on the wire. Just try to catch the edge of the crimped connector on here, and you should be able to push it in so that you can't pull it out. If you pull it out, again, when you try to plug in this end to your serial cable, it's just going to push the pins out. So make sure that you can give a little tug on these and they don't pop out. Alright, our next connection, we're going to be plugging our ground wire in. It's pin 5 on the DB9 and pin 5 on the phone jack. In my case, it's the blue wire. So find the hole with the number 5 on it and insert the cable into the jack. The last wire to connect is the black wire on my connector. That's going to pin 1 on the phone jack, and that's for receive data on the Jag side. It'll be transmit on the DB9 connector. So we want to connect pin 3 on the DB9 to pin 1 on the phone jack. Again, we're not pressing on the wire, just pressing on the crimp terminal. Alright, so that's pretty solid. Alright, the last step is to insulate the remaining terminals. You can just cut these off. I'm gonna wrap mine with some small pieces of electrical tape, just in case I want to change the wiring on these later. The conductors in the connector that are not used are all insulated, so I'm ready to complete this. So just fold up the extra wire inside the connector. Tuck those out of the way, and then fold up your wiring, snap the connector in place. The last step in your wiring is to make a cable that will connect from your computer to the Jaguar. To do this, we're using 4-conductor phone wire. The way that so there's 2 ends. The way that the end is wired up that plugs into the connector we just made. Basically the middle two connections are not wired. So the conductors are split. Black is on pin 1, red is on pin 2, nothing on 3 or 4. Green goes to pin 5 and yellow to pin 6. Now on the other end, you've got the same wiring for the cable that's coming in. So black on pin 1, red on pin 2, green to pin 5 and yellow to 6. But in those middle connections that we didn't wire up on the other end, we placed a 100 ohm terminating resistor. So this is required for the Jaguars to communicate over the CAN bus. There needs to be a terminating resistor on both ends of the bus. Now to use this setup, we plug the end that does not have the terminating resistor into the connector we made, and you'll plug the end with the terminating resistor into the left-hand connector on the Jaguar, the one that is labeled IOIOI. Now, that side has the RS-232 to serial bridge in place. This cable can be used to talk to your Jaguars over RS-232 from either your computer to reflash them, or from your C-Rio to use the Jaguars in CAN mode.